Hello, it is time to talk about Northern Colorado real estate and what is happening in the Northern Colorado real estate market. We're going to look at some data. I've broken down Northern Colorado by Weld County and Larimer County. So we'll look at a couple of slides that are going to tell you what's exactly happening in our most recent data, which is from July 2022. And then we're going to talk about what this means for buyers, what this means for sellers. And then I'm going to focus on the big elephant in the room, which is what about this housing bubble? Well, I'll tell you what, we'll discuss whether there is a housing bubble or not, if the market's going to crash. And we'll look at 2008 and why that's different from 2022. My name is Andy Hawbaker. I am a licensed realtor in Northern Colorado with 8Z Real Estate, Windsor, Colorado office. You can always hit me up at my website, which is andyhawbaker.com, or reach out to me through this video, comment however you like. Let's dive in here and look at the numbers of what we've got going on in Northern Colorado. Okay, first of all, we're going to look at July of 2022, the median sales price, and how this has changed over the last 3 years. So the blue bar is Larimer County and the red bar is Weld County. In 2022, the median sales price in Larimer County, now this is going to include your single family homes, your condos, and townhomes. So the number might feel a little less than what you're seeing single family homes go for. It's because the condos and the townhomes are wrapped up in here too, just to give us a full picture of what is going on in Northern Colorado. Okay, so in 2022, Larimer County, $406,000 was the median price, jumped 20.5% to $489,000 in 21. And then another 14.4% to $560,000 in 2022. You can see the numbers there for Weld County, also an 18.1% jump, and then another 11.7%. So month to month, July was very close, maybe just slightly down from June. So we're seeing that there's definitely a slowdown in this price appreciation, but you can see that we're still had, over the last couple of years, a ton of appreciation in value. Okay, our next slide here is the number of homes for sale. So this is kind of important. Something we've been talking about over the last couple of years is how there's no inventory. There's nothing on the market to sell. So in 2020, there were 1,295 homes for sale. That fell almost in half to 698 homes for sale. And then now in July of 2022, we got a 29% increase from last year to 900 homes for sale. So that is a big increase in inventory. You can see we're still down from where we were in July of 2020, but the kind of big news changing in the market, there's definitely a shift because now there are homes that buyers can choose from. So we'll talk about all that in here in just a second. This next slide is the month's supply of inventory. So this is a slide that we talk about a lot as realtors, how many months supply there are. So basically with the amount of demand that there is and amount of closed sales, if you took everything that was on the market, how long would it take to sell those homes? So in 2020, we were around 2 months of inventory. 2021, it was a month, less than a month. And now we're back up to a month and a half, basically about 6 weeks of inventory. So that's good. It's a real positive move in the right direction to make this a balanced market. A balanced market is 5 to 6 months of inventory on the market. Anything above 6 months is going to be a buyer's market, meaning the ball's in the buyer's court. They can kind of lowball and sellers have a hard time selling homes. And then anything under 5 months is going to be considered a seller's market. So we're still in a very strong seller's market. So when people are saying that things have changed very quickly and now we're in a buyer's market, that's not true. It's still very much a seller's market, but there is a shift becoming much more normal. We're seeing a lot of normalization here. So that's what's going on with that. So what does this mean for buyers? Well, it means there's opportunities to find a home. There was a time where you had to see the house, this is really 2 months ago, all of 2021, basically. You had to go see the house within 2 hours of it going on the market. Many people drove by and made offers, but then you were just battling everyone else. So there's now less competition. You're not up against 20 offers. You may be the only offer. You may have just one or two you need to beat. And then you have a lot more choices. So you can, like I said, you're seeing the house instead of which two houses in our price range are on the market this weekend. It's okay, let's go look at the ones we really like. So that's pretty awesome for home buyers, really good news. And then I didn't have a slide for this, but the not bidding over the asking price. This is a factor I like to watch a lot of times, and that is how do homes sell compared to the asking price. So we saw that on average, homes were selling in Fort Collins for 4%, 5% above the asking price. That means some people are paying 10% above the asking price. I know I had an offer I wrote that was $95,000 over the asking price, and we didn't get the home. So those stories are all true. That absolutely happened. And that's kind of coming to an end where there's not nearly the demand, not as many buyers in the market, and sellers aren't quite as in much control. So that's kind of eased out a little bit there. So good news there. But what does this mean for home sellers? Okay, I wouldn't freak out if I was a home seller. It's still a really good time to sell your home. I would say what it means is that pricing matters. You can't just make up a number and then get 4 or 5% above that number. Now you need to price it well with what else is on the market and what recently has sold, because you don't want your house to sit on the market too long. You price too high, you're going to be on the market too long. You're going to do a price drop. People still bid under the price reduction. So you end up getting a lot less money than if you just priced it right the first time. So consider that, work with a realtor who's really looking at what is going on in the market and can advise you on that. Next is merchandising matters. Merchandising homes is something that we talk about a lot at 8Z. I don't hear a lot of other agencies talking about it, but basically I'm talking about photos, staging, and cleaning. So you got to have professional photos. They have to be well lit. You can tell when a realtor walks through a home with a cell phone and takes photos. Usually they're in the mirror of the bathroom photos. Like they just look terrible. They're dark. The pictures are small. It just doesn't show the home very well. 95% of all people start their home search online. So they are looking at pictures of the home. The first showing happens at home, and the second showing is when they show up at your house. So you want them to fall in love with the house online and then get to the house, realize that it is as awesome as they had hoped, and make an offer on your house. So you'll get far more people to your house if you're using professional photos. Then it's got to be staged so it looks good, declutter all those things, and then cleaning. People don't want to walk in and see that the bathrooms have mold in them, or the showers are disgusting and you just can't imagine living there. You want them to just walk in your home and say, wow, I could live here. This is amazing. So that's really important. And then the next thing on here is that it's still a seller's market. We talked about that. You don't have all the cards in your hand, but you are still in control. People, like we said, it's still a seller's market by kind of a long shot. So that's good news for sellers. And then I would say that I think right now is a fabulous time to downsize or to move up. So if you're going to move, sell your house and move to a different house. Last year, I talked to people who wanted to do that, and I always heard the excuse, which was, if I sold my house, where will I go? I mean, there was no inventory, so that was really a concern. Now you have choice. So if you price your home well, you're going to sell it at basically the top of the market, and you're going to be able to have some choice and maybe be very competitive on any offer that you place. So it's a great time to move up or to downsize. So remember that as a home seller. Okay. Oh boy, everyone's talking about this bubble. When is this bubble going to burst? Okay, let's talk about it. Oh, no, sorry. The bubble is not going to burst. There is no housing bubble, and I'll tell you why. Housing is in demand. People want to live in northern Colorado. People are moving to Loveland, Fort Collins, Windsor. These are very desirable places to move to from other states. So that's not going to stop. Increased rents are still a problem. Inflation has been at all-time highs, and the amount that people are paying for rent. I talk to people all the time that, I'm staying in the same house. I'm paying $200 more this year than I paid last year for each month. So that's going to keep happening. You got to buy a house. There's no reason to continue to pay rent. So those people are going to be in the market still. And then millennials are reaching their prime buying years. So the prime age to buy a first time home buyer, your first home, is 32 years old. Do you know when most people turn, or excuse me, this year more people turn 32 than ever in the history of the United States? Do you know when that'll be beat? It'll be beat next year. You know when that'll be beat? The year after that. There are an incredible number of people in the millennial age that are now becoming the home buying prime age. So that's going to increase demand also. So this demand is not going away, even though the rates have raised. What's going to happen is people are going to get used to, okay, 5.5% is normal, the new norm. And that's what I'm going to have to pay. So that's going to change, and these people are going to be back in the market. So there's not going to be a bubble. There's a huge new construction shortage. Actually, since the crash of 2008, we're looking at 13, 14 years of builders not building as many homes as demand. Moody's Analytics projects that the U.S. has a shortfall of 1.5 million homes. So that's going to take a long time to make up that. And all these new millennials, all these other first-time, second homes, all these things that are going on. There's going to be a high demand for homes. So the market's not going to crash. And then we'll talk about in the next couple slides why the market has changed since 2008, the last time we did have a housing crash. Okay, first of all, what caused that 2008 housing crash? Well, number one, it was lax lending standards. So it's super easy to get a loan. You didn't have to have any down payment. Your credit didn't have to be that good. You didn't even have to have a job. True story, I moved to Loveland, Colorado from Durango in August of 2005. I had given up my job in Durango to start over in Loveland. I walked into a lender and said, I want to get a loan, I'm gonna buy a house. And they said, what do you make? And I said, I don't know, but when I get a job, I'll probably make around, and I threw a number out there. They wrote it down. I bought the house on my stated income, literally had no job. Closed on the house, still had no job. So you could do that. Imagine doing that now. There's no way you could get a loan right now with no job. So that's changed. There were many subprime loans, people who just did not qualify. There were a lot of ARMs, which are adjustable rate mortgages, and the rates changed very quickly, started going up. People who, again, barely qualified for those loans could not afford the new payments as the rates went up, so they got in bad trouble. Also in 2008, it was a poor jobs market. It was hard to get a job, unemployment was rising. We're in a huge job market now. There's a shortage of people working jobs. You can make 20 bucks an hour working at Walmart. Everyone is upping their minimum wage just to keep employees. So the job market is super hot now. So we're not going to see those problems. We're not going to see people out of work. If you want to work in 2022, you can work. And then homeowners of 2008 had no equity. Like I said, they didn't have to put any money down. You could get, 100% financing, or even if they got 95% financing, they put no money down. And then when the values of the homes changed quickly, they then owed more than the home was worth, and then they walked away. That is not the case right now, as we'll see in just a second. How is today's market different than 2008? Well, I've already talked about it. I've been driving it home. There is a huge demand for homes. Also, there's a very high lending standards, so you have to qualify for the loan. You're not going to get the loan with a stated income now. You're not going to have bad credit, bankruptcies, any of those things. You're not going to get a loan in today's market. So all of those things are not the same as 2008. And then the other thing is the market could absorb all those homes. We talked about this in one of those earlier slides, where we're really at a month and a half of inventory, and 6 months of inventory would be average or like a normal market, a balanced market. So that means that the Northern Colorado real estate market could absorb thousands of homes. Thousands of homes could come onto the market, and it wouldn't even shift it into a buyer's market. So if people started losing their homes, they would sell at market value. They wouldn't have to be foreclosures. There'd be no foreclosures. Okay, and then homeowners have a lot of equity. Yes, if you owned your home for the last 2 years, 3 years, you probably have $100,000 in equity if you've been in Northern Colorado. So that means that if, let's say you did lose a job, you could sell your home at market value and walk away with $100,000 or more and go and rent or go buy a smaller place or whatever. That was not what people could do in 2008. They lost their homes to the banks. Now the banks would never end up with a home because you would sell it before you got to that situation. And then the last one on the slide we already talked about is the job market in 2022 is super hot. So we don't have the issues we had in 2008. This slide is really fun to look at real quick. The dark spots are the year recessions. So this shows every recession back to 1960. If you look at this, really with the exception of 2008, looks like it's showing like 2006 to 2008-ish. All the other years, housing actually went up. The cost of a home, the value of a home actually went up during recessions. And if you look at any recession, again, let's leave 2008 out of this one for right now. If you look at any of the others, you take 6 months after the recession's over or 18 months from the beginning of the recession, home values were actually higher. So home values are not hurt in a recession the same way that other things in the economy are. Now, the one recession here that doesn't fit that mold is the 2007-8 recession. And that was caused by housing. It was the housing lenders and all that stuff that actually caused the recession. So that's why housing took a hit that year. But in Colorado, we did not see this. This is a national number, so where there's a huge drop. In Colorado, it was about 2 to 3% is all the home prices dropped. So, and they revived from that really within months. So again, even in the worst housing crisis we've seen, within 6 months, 8 months, the home values were back to where they started. Quite honestly, I was living in Loveland, Colorado at the time, and I didn't really notice that prices changed at all. They were basically the same throughout that. So it didn't hit us like it hit other parts of the country. Okay, my name is Andy Hawbaker. Again, I'm a licensed realtor with 8Z Real Estate's Northern Colorado office in Windsor, Colorado. I love to talk about what is going on in Northern Colorado and answer any questions. If you have additional questions, you can definitely hit me up at my website, which is andyhawbaker.com. You can email me or text me from numbers that are available on that website. I'd be happy to talk to you about your home's value. If you're a buyer and just want to buy into the market, I can answer any questions you have about that too. So again, Andy Hawbaker here with AZ Real Estate. Thank you so much.